Hi folks, welcome everybody to the first game of the HF Showcase weekend. Hopefully my signal stays clear today. Internet is not the greatest here at Eagle. Today's matchup is against the Northern Cyclones from New Hampshire. Alright, looks like just about ready to begin. I do know the Cyclones only have 11 skaters, so it looks like they have a short bench. I know that we're also missing a few players today. Luca, Ben, and Kevin. Yeah, absolutely. Looks like they've got a goaltender doing the scoring. It's been on.
Oh, it's been on. Maybe if I was at the seed, I'd been like mushroom. Oh, good. Okay.
All right, looks like we're all set. All right, puck's down. One back by the Cyclones. Gather it, send it opposite side, pick it up. Doherty with Fisher and Mott, Ricky and Blake out on the ice, and Aiden in net. As the puck comes out to neutral ice, back over to Blake, sends it back over to Fisher. Fisher drops it in, try to get it into the zone, cannot. Picked up by Cyclones. Shuffle back around, send it deep, back over to Ricky. Ricky retrieves, sends it up the boards, over to Ben. Ben looking, picks it back up over to Blake. Blake gets it back up over to Lucas. He's got Doherty on the other side. Oh, long pass, just missed him. Picked up by Lucas. Lucas back over to Nichols, who's on the ice. Picked back up over to Lucas, gets a shot off and goes high above the goaltender's head. Took it back over underneath the stick of Doherty. Cyclones looking to break out, get it into the neutral zone, picked up by Nichols, sends it back over opposite side to Ricky. Into the neutral zone. Cyclones try to send it deep. Goes off of Ricky's hand, goes all the way back. Ricky on the back check. Checked against the board. Fisher out onto the ice, picks it up. Got pressure. Sends it up the boards, picked up against the wall. Now Fisher gathers it. Sends it back up. Nichols taps it forward, and they'll call that a icing. Did he get on? Okay. Fisher shoots Nichols. The puck's down, back into the corner, picked up by Bobst. Bobst back over to Thies. Thies gathers, sends it out into the neutral zone. Cyclones pick it up, drop it back over to their own zone as Bobst picks it up. Sends it over to Nichols, jumps a stick, makes it up center ice. Aiden comes back out of the crease, drops it in all the way into the neutral zone. He's got Nichols on the opposite side, tried to get to him. Cusa knocks it down. Back over to Fisher. Fisher drops it into the zone. Back out to the point to Tobin. Tobin gets a shot off. Saved by the goaltender. Drop back over into the corner. Fisher puts it on his side, tries to kick it back out to the point. Bob's trying to keep it in, delayed offside, zone clear. Team Philly clears the zone now. Heston, Barthol out onto the ice with Ricky, Tobin. Back over to Tobin, opposite side, back over to Zimmerman. Cyclones gather to the opposite side, pick it up. Barthol pressure onto the puck. Sent deep, Ricky back, gathers it. Sends it back over to Tobin. Got Jake streaking long. Jake coming up center ice. Gets a nice shot off. Good save by the goaltender. Back out to Ricky, try to maintain, keep the zone. Tobin in the back check. Aiden all the way in the back. Sends it back up the boards. Picked up by Tobin. Full steam ahead, comes across, dumps it in. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Cyclones looking to push forward. Lucas out onto the ice, pressure onto the puck. Doherty and Fisher with him. Cyclones send it over to the opposite side. 13-15 first period. Dropped all the way in, back over to Blake. Blake holds the defender off, picks it up. Lucas tried to get Doherty in the neutral zone. Blake still holding it up. Sends it back over to Ricky. Ricky's got Fisher ahead of him. Lucas taps it forward. That's picked back up. Back over to Doherty. Doherty gets a shot off. It goes off a defender's skate, goes wide. Shot attempt. 2 shot attempts. .1240. Lucas, Doherty, Fisher, Tobin, and Thies. Lucas, puck down. Back over into the neutral zone, picked up. Thies sends it deep. Goaltender knocks down. Ooh, referee got that one off the knee. Pick back up, over to Tobin. Tobin gets a shot off. Almost hit the same referee again. Guy needs to take shelter. Cyclone send it deep, back over to Tobin. Tobin, opposite side. Goaltender gloves it down, shoos it over to the side. Fisher with the pressure onto the puck, picked up in the corner by the Cyclone, sent back out in the neutral zone. Thies, good back check, picks up, loses an edge. Wow, somehow still got it off the stick, pushed it forward. Doherty on the forecheck. Puck swung around the opposite side. Cyclones whip on it. Delayed offside, Doherty. Now it's Blair. Oh, Anthony. Pick up. Aiden. Nice pickup at Lucas. Lucas couldn't get off the stick the right way. Went long, back over to Bops. Bops. Nice glove save by the goaltender. So at the 11:14 mark, I think Philly's getting some pressure onto the goalie. Need to get him to move. Cusa, Fisher, Nichols, pushed through, knocked down by the goaltender. Good face-off win, sent back over to Cusa, tried to get a shot on goal, just goes wide, back out to neutral zone. Ricky picks it up, looking, sent forward. Cusa picks it up, back down into the corner, pressure on him. Nichols back over, gets it over to Cusa. Cusa drops it out to Ricky at the point. Kick saved by the goaltender. Nichols pops it back out to Ricky. Cusa releases back over to Fisher. Fisher, back over. Cycle back over to Fisher. Fisher, back out to the point. To the Bops. Back over to Nichols. Nichols looks. Try to get a shot attempt, goes off the defender's skate. That's a high stick. Waved off. Bob sends it back over to Ricky. Ricky comes through the neutral zone, loses the puck. Bob's one-on-one with the defender, picked back up by Nichols, helping him out. Nichols looking. And that's going to be an icing call. Puck's down into the corner, sent into the neutral zone. Back over to Barthel. Barthel gathers it, comes across the blue line, kicks it forward to himself. Cyclones retrieve. Back over to Bops. Just underneath the stick of Zimmerman. Goaltender loses an edge. Back out to Tobin at the point. Tobin to Zimmerman, releases it. Heston back over into the corner. He's got two guys on him. Toby tried to pick it up, unable to do so. Now gets it. Right the slot, loses an edge. 2-on-2. Cyclones take a shot from center ice, goes way over Aiden's head. It's all the way on the back wall. Tobin sends it up the boards. Picked back up by Krecker. Krecker, backhand, drops it in. Zimmerman, back over. Lucas thought about high sticking it, did not. Now it's back over to Tobin. Tobin sends it back over to Lucas. Lucas looking. Nice feed to Fisher. Gets pulled off the puck. Lucas with a gentle pass back over to Peace. Back into the neutral zone. Fisher taps it forward. Makes its way all the way back to the back line. Aiden knocks it down. Back over to Doherty. Doherty. Backhand pass gets intercepted in the neutral zone. Cyclones were offside, so now they clear it back. Peace sends it into the neutral zone. Doherty gets it. Back over to Fisher. Over to Doherty. Tried to feed it to Lucas. Peace with a good move around the defender. Waved off the icing call. Doherty putting pressure onto the puck. Fisher back over against the wall. Puck rims along the outer ball. Picked up by Thies at the point. Thies gets a shot off, goes off a defender's stick, back out to Lucas. Lucas gets another shot. Two shots. A shot attempt by Bops gets knocked down. Thies sends it deep, delayed offside, cleared. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Fisher, good pressure onto the puck by himself. Nobody's there. Looking for a little bit of help. Good forecheck. Picked back up by Ricky in the neutral zone. Nichols with a little pressure going back. Picked up again by Ricky in the neutral zone. Gets checked along the board. Send a pass back over. Krecker gets it. After Aiden shuffled it to the back wall. Picked up by Fisher. Now it's back over to Nichols. Nichols try to make a move around. Unable to get it. Back over to Cusa. Cusa with a nice shot. Good blocker side save by the goaltender. 6-13-0-0, first period. Cyclone sent it deep, picked up by Krecker. Krecker tried to get a pass off, back over to Nichols. Nichols sent it into the neutral zone, back over to Fisher and Cusa. Nobody could find it. Cyclones into the zone. Picked up by Fisher. Sent back over. Blake sends it in back to the opposite side. Cyclones gather it, cycle it over to the other side of the ice. And they come across center ice and dump it in. Aiden back, stops the forecheck, picks it up, sends it up the boards. Cyclones pick it up, now it's back at the point. Knocked down. Krecker over against the wall, picked up by Barthel. Barthel kicks it forward, tries to send it to himself. Delayed offside. There's a penalty coming up on the Cyclones. That should be an interference. Cross-check is the call. So at the 5:04 mark, Cyclones will be down. Team Philly will be on a power play. There we go. First time I've ever seen two goaltenders manning a score box. Puck's down into the corner, picked up by Zimmerman, all by himself. Looks, sends it back out to Doherty at the point. Doherty tries to send it on net, picked up by Lucas. Lucas looking, sends it back out to Nichols. Back over to Lucas. Lucas tried to get a shot off, goes off a defender, escapes. Hayden, pass opposite side, back over to Fisher. Fisher, out to Lucas. Got Nichols. Man, puck is just not coming off the stick right now. Again, now it's back out to the point. And Doherty had a chance to put a stick on it. Line change for Team Philadelphia. Heston, Krecker, Bobst, Cusa, and Fisher. Puck's down, picked back up at the point. Cusa over opposite side, over to Krecker. Krecker couldn't control it between his legs. Holds up, waits at the point, back over to Fisher. Opposite side over to Cusa. 1:04 left. Opposite side pass, and it makes its way outside the zone. Cusa picks it up. Cusa drops it in all the way around the boards to the other side where Bobs is. Bobs into the corner. Heston over to help him out. Heston gets it back over to Bobs. Bobs looking, sends it back out to the point. Fisher, the Krecker, Cusa. Slot pass to Bobs. Shot goes wide. Picked back up by Fisher. Now it's by Krecker. Cusa gets the shot attempt off. Goaltender's got good eyes. Makes its way all the way back. Aiden drops it back into the neutral zone. Cusa makes a move. Comes across the blue line. Sends it over the opposite side to Doherty. Back out to Cusa. Doherty gathers it. 3, 2, 1. And it's even strength. Doherty thought about it, looking, nobody on him. Back out to Theus. Theus with a shot. .248 left first period. Still 0-0. As you can look by the shot totals. I forgot to give Aiden 1. Team Philly's getting shots on goal, just not putting it in. Credit to the goaltender. Lucas back over pressure. Fisher back over to help. Puck escapes him. Sent back out in the neutral zone. Ricky gathers it. Sends it deep. Doherty on the opposite side. Forecheck. Fisher's there. Doherty back over to retrieve. Doherty shuffles it out, looking for Lucas in the slot. Picked up by Thies. Thies sends it in all the way to the opposite side. Cyclone shuffle. Doherty into the corner. Lucas thought about it, left the puck behind. Picked up by Doherty coming across. Looking. Fisher. Makes its way into the corner. Tried to clear the zone. Fisher checked into the boards. Back over to Lucas. Drops it over to Blake. Center pass goes right to a defender. Cyclones try to clear the zone. Now it's back out to the point again over to Krecker. Krecker try to get it back over to Ricky. Ricky, shot attempt goes wide. Picked up by Lucas on the opposite side. Center pass out to the point. Drop back in. This seems like an eternity. Ricky makes his move around, back over to Fisher. Fisher tried to send it in, intercepted by Cyclones defender. Makes its way out to the neutral zone. Cyclones regather. 52 seconds left in the period. Picked up by Barthol, comes down the slot. Gets a shot attempt. Goaltender steers it into the corner. Picked back up by Krecker. Krecker thought he had the puck on his stick, tried to take a shot, wound up, no puck. Heston back over against the board, centers it. Cyclones send it all the way deep, no icing call. Back over to Tobin. Tobin, back over to Krecker. Krecker. 17 seconds left, first period, 0-0. Come across center ice, 4 seconds. And that will do it for the end of the period. So the end of the first period, 0-0. Team Philly with 15 shots on goal compared to the Cyclones 1. Again, we'll focus on the 2 goaltenders that are in the box. Alright, looks like we're all set. For the second period, 0-0. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols, Bobston, Wright out onto the ice. Puck is down, back over to Bop. Bop sends it deep, delayed offside. Now it's cleared. Puck makes its way all the way over to the boards. Nichols tried to send it deep. Gets it knocked down. Cyclones come across. Shot goes over Aiden's head. So hand pass called by the referee. 16:29. Puck's down. Cusa tried to kick it forward. Back out. Fisher sends it over to the wall. Nichols is there. Now it's back over. It's 2-on-1 opportunity. Nichols is there. Back over with Fisher. Nice pass, just couldn't capitalize. Back over to Nichols, opposite side, tried to get it to Fisher. Fisher stuck in the walls, got two guys, comes out of it somehow. Gets it over to Cusa with a shot, goes over the goaltender's head. Wanting to go into the net, just can't get it to go into the net. Bob stops it at the blue line. It's a good opportunity for Nichols. Picks it up, tries to make a move around. Sent back out to the point. Ricky, ooh, the nice redirect goes over top of the goaltender's head. Bops keeps it in the blue, in the zone. Back over to Ricky. Ricky, delayed offsides. Cyclones pick it back up again. Fisher out onto the ice, picks the puck up, loses it. Now it's picked up by Lucas. Tried to knock it down with his skate. Bops. Sends it deep. Fisher against the wall. Cyclones whip on the puck. Lucas battles over for it. Centers it opposite side. Cyclones get it out to the neutral zone. Bops on a back check. Shot attempt goes wide. Picked back up by Lucas. Lucas shuffles it, gets around the defender, is by himself, picks it up, tries to squirt through. Picked up by Lucas at the blue line. Gets around the defender. Try to get a shot off, goes off the defender. And Doherty gets the shot. Cyclones get it, send it deep, goes off the defender's stick, goes all the way back to the back wall, picked up by Tobin. Tobin tried to send it over opposite side, whipped on it. That's picked up by Lucas. Lucas opposite side over to Thies. Thies back in the neutral zone to Doherty. Doherty catches it off his nose. Back into the boards, gets taken off the puck. Now back over to Fisher. Fisher, back out to Thies. Sent deep, back over to Fisher. Pass attempt gets knocked down. Lucas, pressure onto the puck into the boards. Lucas, back out to Doherty. Back out to the point to Tobin. Tobin waits. Not sure how the goaltender saw that, but he did. .3:16 left, second period, 0-0 still. Barthol, Zimmerman, Heston out onto the ice. Center pass into the slots, intercepted by a defender. Good defensive stick by Barthol. Heston's over there, drops the puck in. Barthol on the other side. Cyclones try to clear the zone. Thies right up the slot. Puck is sitting right there. Good to redirect by Barthol. Cyclones send it around to the opposite side. Come across the neutral zone. Picked up by Tobin. Tobin. Back out to Thies. Tobin. Up the boards. Taps it forward. Gonna wave that off. Back over to Barthol. Back out to Zimmerman. The shot attempt goes just by the goaltender. Makes its way into the neutral zone. Thies picks it up, centers opposite side over to Tobin. Cyclones look to send it deep. Tobin picks it up. And Aiden puts a glove on it. Puck's down, back over to Ricky. Ricky try to make his way around. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher over to Nichols. Try to clear the zone. Cyclones drop it down into the corner. Centering pass gets knocked down. Back over to Fisher. Tusa gets checked at the blue line. Had his head down. Good legitimate hit. Centering pass to the other side. Nichols back over. Kick saved by Aiden. It's like a penalty coming up on Team Philadelphia. Shot goes off the crossbar. Looks like Braden Fisher with the referee is giving a lecture to the bench for some reason. So penalty on Team Philadelphia. Referee had quite a bit to say to the bench. So Barthol, Nichols, Krecker, and Wright out on the ice, 2 minutes. Puck's won back by Cyclones, sent back over to the opposite side. Nichols tried to get pressure onto the puck, sent back out opposite. Kick saved by Aiden. Nichols gets it out. Puck makes its way all the way back. Cyclones. Center ice pass back over to Ricky. Ricky sends it back up into the neutral zone. Barthol back challenge, puck in center ice, comes across Nichols. Back over, Ricky picks it up, sends it deep. Line change for Team Philly. Doherty, Lucas. Lucas knocks it away. Doherty looks to pick it up, back over to Lucas. Lucas gets a shot off, goes wide. Doherty, pressure onto the puck. And that'll be an icing call on the Cyclones. So Zimmerman out on the ice joining Lucas with Thies and Bobst. 42 seconds left on the penalty kill for Team Philadelphia. Back out to Thies. Thies gets a shot off and goes wide. Bobst sends it deep. Lucas puts pressure onto the puck. Cyclones come away with it. Now across the blue line, dump it in. Aiden's back to retrieve it. Sends it back up over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman tried to clear the zone, picked up by Lucas. Lucas, one on many. Centering pass goes the opposite side. Zimmerman's there. Try to clear the zone. Thies knocks it down at the point. Sends it in. Lucas picks it up. Taps it to himself. Loses a stick and goes almost into their offensive zone. Cyclones gather. Come across the blue line. Aiden, kick save into the corner. Thies picks it up, back over to Fisher. Even strength. Back over to Kobe. Nice center pass. Lucas couldn't capture. Back over to Fisher. Nice backhand shot. Goaltender shuffles it into the corner. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher drops it in. Back over to Cuso. They're going to call a bench penalty for cheering. So apparently there's a bench penalty for cheering on a hit. So Team Philly will be down a man. Back out to the point. Cyclones get it. Try to get a shot off, goes wide. Back over to Bops. Bops sends it all the way deep. Fisher, good pressure back. Tangled up, try to hold it. Still there, Nichols poked away. Nichols over to help him out. Cyclones come out in the neutral zone, come across the blue line. Puck gets its way out. Tobin charging the puck. Knocked away by Nichols. Nichols loses the puck. Now it's picked back up. Now makes its way all the way back down. Fisher all the way back. Good pressure. Fisher coming off. Cyclones set it over to the opposite side. Intercepted at the blue line, picked up by Nichols. Nichols try to make a move, loses the puck. Cyclone sent it over to the opposite side. Barthol with Bops. Back over to Heston. Heston dumps it in. Heston retrieves his own shot. Heston loses a stick. Cyclones get it. Aiden shuffles it into the corner, 22 seconds. Back over to Doherty by himself. Barthol over to help him out. Doherty kicks it back over to Ricky. Ricky sends it deep. Back over to Doherty, toe drag around, defender, back out to the slot to Lucas. Lucas tried to get it to the opposite side, unable to do so. Even strength at the 6-12 mark. Ricky pauses, got Blake on the flank. Ricky sends it back up Fisher, and that will be an icing call. So 6:01. Team Philly's still getting a lot of activity, just unable to put it into the net. Puck's down, picked up by Doherty, loses it. Lucas picks it back up, sends it into the neutral zone. Cyclones get it. Send it back over to Ricky. Ricky makes a move, split center ice. Gets it out on the wing to Doherty. Tries a centering pass. Back over to the opposite side. Lucas picks it up. Gets it back over to Doherty. Back over to Lucas. Centering pass. Nice pass to Fisher. Fisher gets a shot off right into the goalie's bread basket. .533. Still 0-0 in this game. Puck's down. Fisher looks to retrieve it. Drops it back over to Doherty. Doherty gets a shot off. The goaltender flashes leather on it. Puck's down, back into the corner. Lucas pressure over with Doherty. Doherty, try to get a shot off. All the way back out to the point to Thies. Thies drops it back down over to Doherty. Over to Lucas in the corner. Gets by Lucas up the boards, center ice. Sent back deep behind, back over to Bops. Bops send it along. Cyclones cycle back behind the net. Bops pressure onto the puck, back over to Fisher. Fisher gathers it. Lucas gets it back over to Doherty. Sends it deep. Fisher on the forecheck. Tries to pull it through, taken away. Lucas checks into the board, sends it back out to the point to Thies. Thies looking for a clear lane, back over to Bops. Redirect. And the goaltender puts a glove on it. Barthol on the ice with Zimmerman and Heston. Puck drop back over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman gets a shot off and goes into protective webbing off of the defender's stick. Zimmerman thought about it. Too many defenders in front of him. Centering pass. Tobin charges the puck. Comes around the corner, looking, tries to center, knocked down by a defender. Cyclones send into the neutral zone. Shot attempt goes off of Aiden's shoulder. Now it's picked back up all the way at the point. Cyclones keep the zone. Zimmerman tried to clear the zone. Cyclones get it. Dangerous. Team Philly just cannot get the puck in the net. 3:29 left, second period, 0-0. Puck down back into the corner. Krecker loses an edge. Nichols back over to help him. Picked up by Fisher. Fisher back over to Nichols. Nichols taps it forward back over to Cusa. Cusa across the blue line. Try to make his way back over opposite side. Tobin loses it off his stick. Cycles it back over to Cusa. Cusa turns. Drops it in back over to Fisher. Fisher centering pass. Gets knocked down. Wow, goaltenders got some lightning fast reflexes. Bob's right, Nichols, Cusa, Fisher. Opposite side pass off the face-off, almost made its way into the net. Back over to Fisher, shuffles it back. Scores! Cusa picks up a loose puck finally for the first score of the game as Team Philly gets on the board. Off a nice feed, I believe, by Fisher. So 1-0 at the 2:48 mark. Puck's down, back over to Cusa. Cusa sent it back over to Bops. Cycled back over. Try to send it long to Streaking Cusa. Wow, Aiden somehow sat on that puck. Fisher on the faceoff, picked up by Ricky. Ricky holds it up, looks, charges forward a little bit, looking. Nichols jumps it in, back over to Fisher. Fisher swipes at it, tried to send it in. Opposite side, picked up by Nichols, into the slot. Comes across, sends it over to the opposite side to Fisher. Fisher drops it in. Nichols on the forecheck. Cyclone send it up the board. Bops drops it back over to Nichols. Nichols releases, gets right to a defender, right charging forward. Cusa sends it back over to Nichols. Cusa loses the puck along the walls. Bops fighting for it. Ricky on the back check. Aiden with the nice save. Picked up by Ricky, makes his way around. A little bit of a hook. Lucas, Ben, Colin, Richard, and Sean out on the ice. Puck's down. Colin tried to knock it back. Back to long, opposite side, no icing. Tobin on the back check. Tobin cycles it around over to Thies. Thies back over to Fisher. Fisher. Opposite side over to Lucas. Lucas comes across. Should have taken a shot. Had a backhand over to Doherty, which was his opposite hand. Back over to Lucas. Lucas. Back in the slot. Thies. Oh my gosh, off the post. Back up to Thies at the point. Three golden opportunities, could not capitalize on. Thies with two shots, one just off the center post. Puck's down, Barthol on the face-off. Heston over to put pressure on. Signal back over to Barthol, back out to the point. Tobin with a shot attempt. Goes by the goaltender on the outside edge. Thies sends it in. Cyclones knock it down. Cyclones cross the blue line. Nice save by Aiden. Picked up. 3, 2, 1. And that's the end of the second period. right, so after interesting first two periods, 1-0 Team Philadelphia with a shot count of 31-11. So getting opportunities, all credit goes to the goaltenders playing lights out. All right, start us off. Cusa, Fisher, Nichols. With Krecker and Wright back on defense. Puck's down. Cyclones make their way across center ice. Picked up. Ricky on the back check, all the way against the back wall. Makes a move around a defender. Looks. Sends it up. Center ice. All the way back. Cyclone gets it. Comes off his stick. Cusa sends it deep into the corner. Back over to Nichols. Nichols checks. Cyclones gather back into the neutral zone. Jumps Krecker's stick back all the way. Krecker slides across. Back over to Cusa. Cusa. It's a good out for Nichols. Nichols took a little bit too long on the shot. Good attempt. Back out to Ricky at the point. Over to Nichols. Back over to Ricky just outside of his reach. Krecker on the back check. Over to retrieve. Sends it back over to Nichols. Send it back over to Krecker. Krecker centering pass back over to Fisher. Fisher makes a move around defender. Nice stick by the goaltender. Makes it all the way up to Thies. Thies keeps it. Dumps it all the way down. Fisher back over to Fisher. Centering pass back over to Colin. Nice centering pass. Lucas joins him. Thies and Bobst on defense. Puck's down. Lucas passed through. Centering pass to nobody. Goes right out to the post. Lucas picks it up against the wall. Sends it back out to the point to Bobst. Bobst whiffs on it. Back over to Lucas. Sends it back out to Bobst. Right to Thies at the point. Shot attempt goes off the defender's stick. Bobst keeps it in the zone. Shot attempt goes wide. Fisher, Lucas back over. Fisher gathers it. Over to Doherty. Doherty with a nice save. Ooh, they call it dead.
Quick whistles for them.
Yeah.
Abe was laying on it for like 10 seconds before they blew it. What does that mean?
Puck's dropped. Lucas over to attack puck. Looks. Centering pass. Gets knocked down behind the net. Now it's picked up by Bobst. Back over to Fisher. Fisher looking. Nice move. Couple backhand forehands. Gets a shot off. Goaltender. Goaltender looked like he's stretched his groin a little, trying to get loose again. Puck's dropped, Barthol. Heston back over against the wall. Heston comes away with it. Looking. Back out to Thies at the point. Over to Heston. Heston waits. Makes a move around. Sends it to the corner. Barthol fights through a check. Back over. Nice redirect by Jake. Goaltender knocks it back into the corner. Back over to Bops. Zimmerman passes it into the corner. Goaltender knocks it down. Back over, picks it back up. Centering pass right in the slot to a defender. Back over to Bops. Bops comes across. Centering pass, ooh, almost got through over to Zimmerman. Picked up by Jake. Jake sends it over to the opposite side corner. Team Philly with line change loses a stick. Zimmerman tries to center it, goes off a defenseman's stick, and the goaltender puts a glove on it. Cusa, Nichols, Fisher. Drop down. Nichols tried to pick it up and get a shot off, unable to do so, and gets a backhand. The goaltender puts his glove on it. Cyclones come out of the face-off with it, back into the corner, loses it, back opposite side. Fisher gets a shot off, puck is still out front. Nichols tried to knock it down, centering pass, back over. Krecker makes a move, shuffles it in. Cusa on the forecheck. Fisher picks it up, gets it back over to Cusa. Cusa gets a nice shot off. Goaltender knocks it down. Off the side of the net. Oh, centering pass. Back out to Krecker at the point. Out of action. Just not a lot of goals. Lucas, Doherty, Fisher. Oh! Puck goes by the goaltender on the outside. Fisher looks to pick it up. Can't. Lucas is back over to help out. Cyclones come away with it, send it deep. Back over to Aiden. Aiden cycles it back out the side over to Ricky. Picked up by Doherty. Doherty's got a couple guys in front of him, waits for a little support. Holds up, back over to Lucas. Tip almost gets by the goaltender, 12 minutes left. Doherty, back over to Fisher, and the goaltender puts a glove on it. Marthal, Heston, Zimmerman. Puck's down, picked up by Heston. Heston looking, back out to the point. Knocked away. Bob's on the back check, sends it over to Ricky. Ricky puts it to his backhand, waits, holds up. Back over to Barthol. Barthol across center ice, comes across the blue line. He's got Heston with him. Opposite side, try to get to Zimmerman. Zimmerman sends it back out to the point. Thies is not at the blue line yet. Ricky fake, made a move around. Gets a shot off, goes off a defensive stick, all the way to the protective netting. (11-10). Nichols, Cusa, Fisher, Thies, Tobin. Back out to Tobin at the point. Tobin sends it back over to Cusa. Back at Tobin in the slot. Shot attempt goes off a defender's stick into the back netting. Nichols on the faceoff. A little bit of extracurricular activity out front of the net. Be offsetting penalties. Fisher and number 4. I don't understand. Apparently it's a power play for the Cyclones, but they have a man in the box. So Team Philly would be down a man at the 10:52 mark. Lucas, Colin, Sean, and Thies. Looks like a 2 and 10 on Braden Fisher. Pucks down, Cyclones get it, back out to the point. Lucas knocks it down at the point, Thies back over into the corner. Cyclones gather. Lucas tried to get a stick on it, it's unable to do so. Aiden knocks it back down, back over to Doherty. Doherty sends it forward. Goaltender sends it up the boards. Lucas was in chase. Cyclones come across the blue line. Lucas out on the race by himself. Gets a shot off, goes across the goalie's pad. That'll be an icing call. Team Philly still down a man. Doherty, Tobin, Thies, Lucas. 1:14 left on the penalty kill. Doherty knocks it to the back wall, picks it up. Got 2 guys on him. Lucas tried to get there. Cyclones come out to the point. Opposite side. Good defensive stick by Tobin. Another good one. Try to clear it out in the zone. Unable to do so. Two Team Philly players coming out. Aiden with a knockdown off his shoulder. Just outside of his reach. Now it's back against the wall. Picked up by Tobin. High stick, back over. There's a high stick and then a hand pass. 22 seconds left on the penalty kill. Cyclones come up, opposite side, back over to Krecker. Krecker sends it deep again, 12 seconds. Barthol, pressure onto the puck. Kicks it back out. Sent all the way back. Now it's even strength. Barthol tried to charge the puck. Backhand, overruns it. Shot attempt, goes over Aiden's shoulder. Back behind the net, just outside the outreached arms of Krecker. Heston back in, back over to Barthol. Cyclones send it to the back wall, picked up by Ricky. Ricky back into the corner. Two guys on him, pressured back over to Barthol, sends it over opposite side over to Krecker. Back over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman, opportunity. Nice shot. Couldn't get it to trickle through though. Fisher, Cusa, Nichols, Krecker and Wright. 8:07 left in this game, 1-0 Team Philadelphia. Puck's down to the back wall. Nichols picks it up, looks, cycles back around. Cusa on the other side, gets a shot off, goes over the goaltender's head. Picked up, Fisher tried to get there. Ricky charges forward, thought about it, stopped, and picks it back up again. Ricky looking for a little bit of help. Nichols standing at the blue line. Fisher back over to Cusa. Cusa pulls it forward, back out to Ricky at the point. Ricky dumps it in, back over to Fisher. Centering pass right to the slot. Cusa was there. Ricky makes a move around the defender. Comes across the blue line. Scores! Ricky Wright! Holy cow! I think that caught the goaltender. Stunned him. Richard Wright from literally across the blue line to make it 2-0. I don't think their clock ran on that one. The twin goaltenders in the box, I think forgot because I had 7:23. It's at 8:03 now. Lucas back on the point. Cyclones come across. Try to get a shot off, not to the side. Thies into the neutral zone. Lucas gets the puck into the neutral zone. Cyclones get it. Split two defenders. Comes across the blue line. Loses an edge. Back over to Lucas. Lucas has got Fisher with him, 2-on-2. Try to get it to his outstretched arm, so unable to do so. Fisher holds it up. Loses the puck. Cyclone sent it to the other side. Ooh! Bops loses an edge. Lands on the puck, picks it up. Lucas gets it long, back over to Doherty. Lucas charging the opposite side. We'll try to hit Fisher coming across the blue line. Back over to Thies. Thies. Send it back over behind the net. Cyclones gather. Hold it up. Fisher a little token pressure. send it into the neutral zone. Cyclones, opposite side. I don't think Aiden saw that, but ends up sitting on it. 6:34. Puck's down. Barthol's took a swipe at it. Aiden with a beautiful kick save. Cyclones get the puck out to the point. Shot attempt goes off of Barthol's skate. Back into the corner. Krecker sends it forward. Barthol. Zimmerman charging for the puck. Back over to Barthol. Referee calling the goal off from the blue line. Didn't even have visibility into it. Back over to Zimmerman. Gets a shot off the defender's stick. Goes over the goaltender's head into the webbing. Back out to Zimmerman to the point. Krecker. Send it deep. Cyclones get it, send it up the wall. Zimmerman tried to stop it. Now it's picked back up by Heston. Heston sends it in and goes off the protective webbing. Should be a center ice face-off. Puck's down, back over, Krecker charging forward. And that gets into the Team Philly bench. One back over to Krecker. Krecker sends it into neutral zone. Zimmerman sends it forward, back over to Barthol. Barthol loses his stick. Krecker cleared the zone. Cyclone send it deep, back over to Tobin. Tobin put the backhand on it, sends it up the wall. Barthol picks up a defender. Tobin charging forward, across the blue line. Got Cusa with him. Cusa gathers it as a loose puck. Now Tobin gets it. Back out. The puck is loose. Still there, back out to Tobin. Tobin makes a move around. Backhand, gets over to Cusa. Cusa looking. Back out to Nichols. Nichols splits a couple defenders, loses the puck. Ricky on the back check. Defender loses it. And there's a penalty coming up on Nichols at the 4:29 mark. So Team Philly will be down a man. All right, so Lucas, Anthony, Aiden and Ricky out on the ice. So Cyclones call a timeout. I think the Cyclones might put an extra skater out, not positive. Yes, they will. So Team Philly will be on a penalty kill, 2 minutes. Cyclones have pulled the goalie, so they have 6 men, skaters on the ice. Barthol in the face-off. Pucks down into the corner. Bops. Lucas gets it out into the neutral zone. Barthol coming out with token pressure. Cyclone center around the opposite side. Try to dump it in. Back over to Bops. Bops gets a shot off. No icing. Minute 36 left on the penalty. Lucas tried to get it on the stick, could not. Cyclones look to try to set it up. Back into the corner. Ricky's back over to help. Cyclones come away with it. Back out to the point. Opposite side, Barthol. Shot attempt goes high. They're going to call Ricky with a roughing. So now it'll be a 6-on-3. So Fisher, Krecker, Thies out on the ice. Back out, sent all the way back, almost gets it there. That was a great shot by Thies. Cyclones come across center ice, now across the blue line. Back over, try to center pass. Krecker back over to help out between his legs. And it's back out to the point. Aiden with a nice blocker side save. Back out to Krecker. Krecker tried to clear the zone. Back out to the point. Back over to Thies. Thies. Thies with a by himself with 5 guys on him. Oh my gosh. That's a penalty. All right, so it'll be a 4-on-3. Cyclones put the goaltender back in at the 2:43 mark, 44 mark. probably a 2 and 10. They put a second guy in the box. So, all right, so 242 left in the game. Heston Tobin and Bob's out on the ice. Puck's down. Now the goaltender comes off. And an extra man. Aiden's back. Drops it back over to Bob's. Bob's sends it all the way up. So now it's 5 skaters to 4. Heston back along the boards. Picks it back up. Cyclones come across the blue line. Send it back out. That's all the way to the back ball. Back over to Tobin. Tobin. Send it deep. 2:03 left in this game. Back all the way to Tobin. Tobin. Nice move around. Oh my gosh. Puck just skated by the outside edge of the goal. Back over to Bops. Bops on the back check. Gets to it. Cyclones pick it up. Try to get a shot off. Goes off a defender's stick. Makes it to the sidewall. Aiden with a nice blocker side save. Picked back up by the Cyclones. Now it's even strength. Empty net. Nichols try to clear it back up. Back over to Jake. Jake sends it deep, and that should be an icing call. So right now it's minute 12. Cyclones have a man in the box. They pulled the goalie, so it's 5-on-5 on the ice now. Zimmerman, Fisher, Krecker, Cusa, and Nichols. Back out to Krecker. Tried to send it opposite side. Back over to Zimmerman. Zimmerman to Nichols. "14 seconds left on the Cyclones penalty. They send it deep. Aiden back over to retrieve. Sent it back up the boards. Knocked down along the boards. Zimmerman kicks it forward, back over to Fisher, and that goes into the bench. "38 seconds. Puck's down. Fisher back over. Makes its way outside the zone. Back over Nichols. Oh my gosh. And that scores it. And called Nichols for unsportsmanlike contact. So 3-0, but they get, actually that may be Fisher for unsportsmanlike.
You can't cheer? Then you got a goal now?
Lucas on the face-off. Puck's down, back over. Krecker Lucas into the neutral zone. Lucas picks it up. He's got Doherty on the other side. Scores! Lucas with a wrister. With a goal at the 13-second mark. Short-handed goal. Puck's down, back over to Doherty. Doherty shuffles it back. Sends it back into the neutral zone. Cyclones have to wait for the zone to clear. Aiden sends it all the way back out. And that'll do it for the game. So Team Philly, after putting a lot of shots on net, out shooting the Cyclones by quite a bit. Finally get the win, 4-0 with some late third period goals. And the Cyclones' 2 goalies did a great job in the scorer's box. They have 3 goalies and 11 skaters, which is impressive. So Team Philly will head out of this game 4-0, and they have their second of 4 games tomorrow morning at 10:40. And that will be against the North Jersey Avalanche, and then one at 4:30 against the Arizona Bobcats. Thanks for joining tonight, folks. We'll see you later.